Learning how to day trade SPY has changed my profitability immensely. In this video, I'm going to teach you guys the strategies I use, as well as some of that other insight into how you guys can effectively trade SPY. First thing first, I always start on the daily chart, more so just to look at what that daily candle looks like. It can help me get a better sense and also where we are in terms of overall support and resistance on the daily. In this case, our Friday candle here, a little green candle, not too much movement, right? But because of this, we have a decent way we could go down. This is also a pretty key area, so I really like this area here on SPY. But how I really use and break down SPY is looking at 65 and the 15-minute chart. So here on the 65, what I want to do is just get kind of a big picture and plot out some potential support and resistance. Now, I don't use these levels to establish triggers, but I do use them later on for scaling and also just knowing where those big move potentials are. So in this case, what I do, just look out a little bit. I want to stay within the last 20 or so days just because I do want that earlier price action, and because SPY is so heavily traded, that daily time frame can be a little bit cluster. So I want to know those time frames and those levels that have been important recently. So in this case, you see here where we're trading right around 408. One that really sticks out is this initial test here and then a fall. So this level here, it's big to me. So 408.16, 408.2 is what I'll put, just because I like to use those psych numbers, those round numbers. Helps me a little bit in also simplifying what I'm really looking for. Above that, big level that sticks out here. Down here about 410, it looks big, right? So we have these candles up here touching that 410 level, and then it turns into support here before a little bit of bounce and then ultimately falling. Support, resistance, support. I want to see more changes of support to resistance. That shows me that these key levels are more important. So I'm also going to mark down 410. Throw this on here. All right, and then I'm going to go and do a couple levels lower. On the upside here, it looks like we do have a lot of restriction. Over that, yeah, we can test up here towards 411.25. So I'll mark that as well and just give me some ranges where potential support or resistance can come in this case being resistance. Throw that down. All right, now move down to the bottom side. So first thing, we bounce here a couple different times, but this level down here really, it's a big one. It's right at that 405 level, another round, nice whole number. We do have a high here as well. So 405, that's another one I'm going to note. So what I'm doing on the hourly is giving me those bigger time frame, being able to see a little bit better. And then I'll break it down a little bit further on the 15-minute to know very specific levels that I am looking for. Another one, this one really sticks out to me here, 402.35. But it looks like it's a retest of this high here at 402.6. So I'm actually going to mark this at 402.6. I like that because, it's a top here right before we ultimately fall down. And then we retest again that 402.6 level for the big bounce. I like that a lot. All right, another one, this sticks out right off the bat. This high here at 404.07, retest again here. And then it does become support right here. So 404 is one I'm also going to make note of. It doesn't look to be as big as some of these other levels, but it is one that I think could play some support. So it would be a level where I look to either take profits on those puts or look to enter into calls for a potential bounce back up. Now that I've done that, kind of just a visual picture of what I'm looking for, right? I'm going to flip over here to the 15 and break down these levels a little bit more, see if there's any levels I can add in, all that good stuff. So as we can see here on the 15, definitely a lot of stuff going on. So it looks like right here, is a big level. That 406 level is big. What's this high here? 406.63. What's this retest? 406.53. And then our lows are in here. So 406.5. All right, 406. I like that 406.5 level just because it is a little bit easier in my brain to comprehend. And also, if we break this down further, it's probably going to be hitting that on the 5-minute a lot. So I like that 406.5. Again, me, just like a lot of others, like those round numbers. So I like to make note of that. And then 400 is going to be huge down here a little bit lower. But I'm not going to make note of that right now just because we are $8 out of the money. And I like to keep my charts as simple as possible so I don't overcomplicate things. and then confuse myself with all these different lines that I got going on. All right, so now we're going to get into my strategies that I actually use. And my favorite is the orb strategy. So the orb strategy is, I'll turn on this extended here, we can see a little bit better. So it's using the high and low of the first 15. I always trade off of the 5-minute time frame. It helps me a lot with better confirmation. I found I trade better on the 5 than I do the 10 or the 15 because I'm not that patient, but I get faked out a lot on the 1 and the 3, so I love that 5. So the orb strategy, I'm going to delete this 4065 here for a second, just because what it is those first 3 5-minute candles or the first 15 minutes, I'm going to use the high and the low to establish my call and put trigger. In this case, 406.89 will be my call trigger, and my low will be 405.45 or the put trigger. Now, when it comes to entering into a play, what am I looking for, right? So there's a lot of different ways to play it, but the most basic form would be a close above our call trigger and then a retest. I want to play that retest candle, and what I'm looking for there is a retest. Say this candle here, we do close above, right? And then this candle would technically be our retest, but it is a bearish candle after we've already tested a level we've already established at a resort level, so I don't want to enter in there. This is definitely a tricky day, but what we do see is how effective these orb levels are, especially this orb low here, right? So where would we enter into calls? Would I enter calls here on a failed put trigger? I mean, probably not, just because this is a pretty indecisive candle in my overall opinion. But right here, we retest this again, and then we have this long lower wick indicating the buyers are pushing this price up and stepping in here. If you're a volume guy, I'm not the biggest fan of volume in the world, just because I overlook it a lot. But anyways, we see here we do have a little bit higher volume, showing that there are more buyers stepping in here. So this would be a great example of entering on that put, fail, and a retest. I always enter on a retest because it helps me avoid all those fake outs. Now, my favorite way to use that orb method is on gaps. If we look here, let me turn this off. So if we look here, let's see, what day is this? February 9th. That would be Thursday. Thursday we had a little bit of a gap. So what I do here is same thing, high and low of that first 15. I got my high, my low right here. And this is another really good point on why I don't trade or take that first close below. In this case, we have all these candles here, right, that are testing this level. Would I enter calls here? Yes, potentially, right? And that's one where having a good stop loss is going to help us from, missing a trade, which is going to happen. We don't always know the outcome of what's going to happen, all that good stuff. But as we see here, we get our first close below our put trigger, indicating we want to see that retest and we want that confirmation before entering in. This candle right here is almost perfect, right? Retests our level, long upper wick indicating that sellers are coming in, pushing price down. Right here, once this candle closes, I'm entering right away and not thinking about it. Where am I going to set my stop loss? I'm going to set my stop loss right back there on the top tick. I'll get into that in a second, how I use premium charts to set those. And then, we see the fall throughout the day, right? Awesome, great, works really cool. Let's go to the day before where we also have another gap. So if I go low and let's see, 1, 2, 3, this is my high. This would be a great instance of where I would play a failed call trigger entering into puts. In this case, it is a little bit harder because we do have this pretty bullish candle up here, but this next candle here is a bullish engulfing at the top, also known as a tweezer top. Very good entry spot for puts. And then my target becomes this orb low here. As we notice, 1, 2, 3 hard sell-off candles, and then we end up retesting. So say we do not enter up here, maybe a little bit weary, don't want to enter, perfectly fine, right? We got our first close below, we close back above, that's okay. We probably would have got faked out if we entered. That's why I wait on that retest, wait on that confirmation. Then we get our close below again here. This would be my entry. Next candle confirms this. As we see, it does wick back up, but cannot close above. Where the candle closes is way more important than anything else. Where these wicks touch, the importance of where that candle closes is something I cannot stress enough. And then we do get these fallouts here later in the day. Again, how important are orb levels? Later in the day, this is not a picture perfect retest, right? But we do have these long upper wicks here indicating sellers coming in pretty heavy right up near our orb low. So this would be a great spot where we are looking for those puts. We see this candle. Okay, maybe we enter, maybe we don't. I would personally enter on this candle. I like it. I'll take my chances, set my stop loss. Then we see how we fall off back throughout the day. Great, awesome, love it. Now comes the part of exiting our trade or scaling out of our trade. And that would be, once we enter, that's where I really use these 411.25, 410s that I've already determined as where I'm going to scale in and scale out. I'm going to scale into the momentum. So once we get closer to that level, and then adjust my stop loss up so that I keep my money, can't go broke taking profits, right? I'll use a premium chart here in a second to help visualize and how we can use those a little bit better. And let's flip over to that right now. All right, for this example, let's say, we're going to look at puts. And this is February 13th, obviously would be Monday. So we're going to just use this as an example. So same thing, support and resistance as on our, normal charts work here on premium charts. This just works a little bit better with options. So as we can see here, we have a lot of different levels. I use the 15 again, but one that sticks out, 0.51, has been a big level. So I'll mark this as a support potential level. On these puts, we test here, resistance here. Cool, love that. And then when it comes to resistance, we got a bunch of it in here, a lot of wicks. First one we need to overcome is 0.86, and then a little bit higher, and we can just continually go in 1.18 or whatever this high is here, 1.16. Okay, cool. We can just come in, and this helps me where I'm looking to enter. So for these puts, I'm looking for a test down once we get below 0.67, potentially test at 0.5. That's where I look to enter in those puts. This is just trading based off of the premium chart. I'm not even looking at a normal chart when I do this, because we can trade these premium ranges on names that are super liquid, such as SPY, and that makes it a really great opportunity. When it comes to what contract I select, most of the time I'll play 1 day out. Now that there are 0 DTs every day, it does make it a little bit cheaper on both days, but the 0 DTs can flip on us fast, and also we need to catch the move and know that move is going to happen before, or if they'll even be profitable, because we do have that theta decay, which is a unique thing with options. This is Webull, by the way. This is the broker I use because there are no commission on options. Really great for smaller accounts. I'll leave a link up here somewhere to this if you'd like to join. But that's what I keep up on. I have 2 screens, so I keep my normal chart on one, and then I keep this off to my second screen. Over here, this is where I can enter in. So say I want to buy at this 0.8, I can push buy here, and then I can set my stop down here somewhere, and then also a sell limit at the top, which is really unique new thing that Webull did. Makes it really great for trading and also operating, taking those emotions out as much as possible. Now, the last thing for SPY that makes it a little unique is being aware of economic events. They can make a big difference on how the day is going to play out, all that good stuff. So some of the ones that I like to make note of, CPI, PPI. So we see here Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, we do have a CPI. This is pre-market, so I know that there could be a gap. Love the orb strategy for those gap days, and it gives me those triggers without really having to use any crazy levels the day before. And then the big one, jobless claims can affect us a little bit. They're definitely something I make note of, but I wouldn't say they're those top tier ones that bring in the volatility. The number one thing that brings in the volatility is when my man Jerome Powell speaks, FOMC. As we see here, it is intraday, so 2:30. Most of the time on these days, the Tuesday before, price does not move as much, and then the day of, price doesn't move as much in the morning. So I want to execute after the move occurs and we get that retest. I love the retest simply because it helps me not get faked out as much. Yeah, I don't get as many ginormous gains, but I get a lot more consistent gains using the retest method. if you have a smaller account or you don't want something that moves as fast as SPY, another great recommendation I have is IWM. It is the Russell 2000 ETF. So those small cap names, doesn't move as much, but it respects levels super well. The S&P 500 SPY is what the market moves off of because it is those 500 biggest names in the market. And that's a reason I love to trade it as well, along with that liquidity that is instilled. And I don't really have to worry about my strikes as much as I do with a normal ticker, where volume could be an issue on some of those strikes.